So I'm going straight to the point. When I was 20 or 21, I used to think that having a job would be absolute hell for me. I believed I would never be able to wake up early every morning just to earn enough money to survive. Back then, I was deeply influenced by people like Andrew Tate and all those online figures who claimed they were making millions effortlessly. Naturally, I wanted to do exactly the same. I felt ashamed at the idea of getting a job because it went against everything my mind had absorbed. In my head, working a normal job meant failure. It meant I had lost the game before even starting. So I tried everything. I got into crypto. I tried selling courses. I experimented with trading. I wanted to become a gamer, a streamer, anything that could make me money fast without following the traditional path. But none of it worked. Eventually, I moved into an apartment with my girlfriend. For 2 months, I kept trying to make money through closing deals online, convincing myself that success was just around the corner. But the reality was brutal. Nothing was coming in. Bills started piling up, rent, food, basic expenses. It all became overwhelming. And for the first time in my life, I hit a point where I was completely broke. Not I can't afford luxuries broke. I mean, actually broke. I was feeling like absolute trash, mentally drained, stressed, lost. That's when reality hit me. I understood that no matter what I believed, no matter what I wanted, I needed stability. I needed income. So I made a decision. I got a job. I started waking up early in the morning, getting dressed, and leaving my home at 5 a.m. At first, it was painful. The first 3 days felt like torture. My body resisted everything. My mind kept telling me, this isn't you. You're meant for more. But something interesting happened after that. I adapted. A routine started forming. My body adjusted. My mind became quieter. And for the first time in months, I felt grounded. I began to feel proud of myself, even though I still had that deep anxiety, the pressure to make a lot of money, to make it quickly. I was stable. I could pay my bills, I could put gas in my car, I could even buy flowers for my girl. That might sound simple, but for me, it meant everything. And here's something most people don't talk about. I learned more at that job than I ever expected. You learn how to deal with people, you learn how to handle conflict, you learn how to earn respect. At one point, I was doing deliveries, so I had to drive all across my town. I learned how to navigate efficiently, how to manage time under pressure, how to communicate clearly with customers. These are real world skills, practical, valuable, and transferable. People started liking me, not because I was special, but because I showed genuine interest and worked hard, and that changed something inside me. So if you currently have a job, keep it. Right now, it's your only consistent source of income. You might not like it. It might feel exhausting, but understand this. It's giving you something extremely valuable: stability. Do your best at your job. Show up earlier than expected. Be respectful to everyone, but never allow anyone to disrespect you. Work hard even when you don't feel like it, because at the end of the day, it's one of the smartest moves you can make. And don't ever think that it's a waste of your time. It's not. First, it gives you a paycheck. Second, it teaches you skills that you will use later in your own business. And third, it forces you to manage your time properly. When you finish work and you know you only have 4 hours left before going to bed, you become more intentional. You're more likely to use that time wisely, working out, building something, improving yourself. But when you have unlimited free time, that's when your brain switches into rest mode. And instead of being productive, you end up wasting hours doing things that don't move your life forward. I've experienced it myself. There were days where I was more productive working a full 9 to 5 than during entire weekends with no structure. That's the truth most people don't want to hear. What most people don't understand is this: a job is not the enemy. It only becomes a problem when you start treating it like your final destination instead of a tool, because that's what it really is, a tool. When I started working consistently, something shifted in the way I saw money. Before that, money felt random, unpredictable. One month I could make something, the next month nothing at all. But with a job, I knew exactly what was coming in every single month. That predictability changed everything. It allowed me to breathe again, and more importantly, it gave me something I never truly had before: control. Control over my expenses, control over my time, control over my decisions. Instead of acting out of desperation, I could start thinking long term. And that's where most people mess up. They either stay stuck in the comfort of a job forever, or they try to escape it way too early without any foundation. Both are mistakes. because the real strategy is in between. You use your job to build your future, not to escape your present impulsively. When you have a steady income, you can start investing, even if it's small. You can buy better tools. You can learn new skills without pressure. You can take calculated risks instead of emotional ones. Back then, every decision I made came from urgency. I need money now. That mindset forces you into bad decisions. You chase quick wins, you fall for illusions, you jump from one opportunity to another without consistency. But when you remove that pressure, you start playing a different game. You become patient, and patience is where real wealth begins. Another thing your job gives you is discipline, not fake motivation, real discipline. The kind that forces you to wake up when you don't feel like it. The kind that teaches you to perform even when your energy is low. The kind that builds mental toughness without you even realizing it. And this is something you will need later, because building a business is not easier than having a job. It's harder, much harder. There is no boss to tell you what to do, no fixed schedule, no guaranteed income. It's all on you. So if you can't even show up consistently for a job, what makes you think you'll do it for yourself? That's a question most people avoid. Your job is training you, even if it doesn't feel like it. It's teaching you consistency. It's teaching you responsibility. It's teaching you how to operate in the real world. And here's something else people overlook: energy management. When I had no structure, I used to waste my energy on useless things, scrolling, overthinking, jumping between ideas. I felt busy, but I wasn't productive. Now, with a job, my energy became more valuable. I had limited time, so I had to use it wisely. And that's when I started building better habits. I started working out after work, even when I was tired. I started focusing on one project instead of 10. I started cutting distractions because I didn't have time for them anymore. And slowly, things started changing. Not overnight, but steadily. That's the difference between people who eventually succeed and those who stay stuck. Consistency over intensity. Most people go all in for 2 weeks and then disappear for 2 months. But when you have a job, you learn how to stay consistent even when life is not perfect. And that's a superpower. So instead of complaining about your job, start asking yourself, how can I use the situation to my advantage? Because once you shift that perspective, everything changes. Here's the part that really matters: keeping your job is not the goal. Building something outside of it is. Your job is the foundation, but it should never be the ceiling. The mistake most people make is that they either rely completely on their job or they reject it entirely. But the real winners, they do both. They work their job during the day, and they build their future at night. That's the trade off, that's the price. And yes, it's hard. You're going to be tired. Building something outside of it is. Your job is the foundation, but it should never be the ceiling. The mistake most people make is that they either rely completely on their job or they reject it entirely. But the real winners, they do both. They work their job during the day and they build their future at night. That's the trade off, that's the price. And yes, it's hard. You're going to be tired. There will be days where all you want to do is go home, sit down, and do nothing. And sometimes you will. That's normal. But what matters is what you do most of the time, because your future is built in those few extra hours when nobody is watching, not when you feel motivated. Not when it's convenient, but when it's difficult. You don't need 10 hours a day. You need consistency. 2 to 4 focused hours every day is more than enough to change your life over time. Use that time wisely. Learn high income skills. Build a business. Create content. Study. Improve your health. Whatever path you choose, commit to it. Stop switching every 2 weeks. That was one of my biggest mistakes. I kept jumping from one thing to another, thinking the next opportunity would be the one. But the truth is simple. The opportunity doesn't matter as much as the consistency you bring to it. Once I understood that, I slowed down. I focused on fewer things and I gave them time to grow, because everything worthwhile takes time. And this is where your job becomes powerful again. It gives you the ability to be patient. You don't need to rush success anymore. You don't need to force results. You can build something solid step by step without risking everything. That's how real wealth is created, not through shortcuts, not through hype, but through structure, discipline, and time. And eventually something will start working. Maybe it's your content, maybe it's your business, maybe it's a skill that starts bringing in extra income. At first, it will be small, almost insignificant. But if you stay consistent, it grows slowly, then suddenly. And one day you'll reach a point where your side income matches your job. That's when things get interesting because now you have options. You're no longer dependent, you're no longer trapped. You're free to make a real decision. And when you finally decide to leave your job, it won't come from frustration, it will come from preparation, from confidence, from proof. That's the difference. So don't rush the process. Don't let social media distort your vision. Even figures like Andrew Tate represent a very specific path that doesn't apply to most people. Focus on your path, use your job, build your future, and when the time comes, you'll be ready.